Welcome everyone. We are super excited to be here today. I'm Annie Kolatkar. I'm a master facilitator of family constellation work, and I also do advanced energy healing. And with me today is my colleague, Ashley Lee, who is a pediatric energy healer and also a critical care nurse in the pediatric arena of cardiovascular and neurology of 30 years. Welcome, Ashley. Together,
thank you.
We're
so excited to be here together.
Yeah, we put together an amazing 12-week program. We are going to be facilitating healing for you in each of these episodes. And today's episode is going to support you embodying your highest level of commitment. And we recognize we all have challenges with our commitments in different areas of our life. And we want to share with you today what is weakening your commitment to your intention to have healing in all areas of your life. So Ashley, would you like to start our special presentation for today?
Yes, let's begin. I'm so excited.
So we'll be supporting a healing environment while you watch.
Welcome to our first episode.
Yes, that commitment to taking a leap of consciousness. And today we're going to share with you how this is the most important step to any healing intention. Having your commitment to your intention is profound, but we've all experienced challenges inside our commitment, haven't we?
We sure have. Talking deeper into this process, really, we wanted to dive in and talk about what is a commitment? How does one get started? We can begin with the idea that all parts of me commit to creating a lifelong renewal of conscious choice to remember my true nature, your true nature, our true nature of love. And inside that, we can open to this idea of creating a commitment each and every day to really open our hearts, open our minds, open our eyes to really recognizing we can change our consciousness by saying the words, I open to the commitment of accessing my true nature of love in being expressed in every day, in every way, and to everyone, including myself, with compassion and the absence of judgments. Let's take for just a moment the idea of what prevents us from really taking that commitment, taking that leap, diving in and choosing to change our consciousness. Many times it's consciousness challenges that seem to get in the way in our day-to-day experiences. Many times we can move into, on a surface level, this firefighting mode consciousness. It's just incredible how we can, throughout the day, we have things thrown at us, knocking on the door, ringing the bell, videos, video conferencing, all of these opportunities that we have that keep us actually quite busy and sometimes overwhelmed, especially with children or loved ones. We may have commitments to providing care for and to making breakfasts, lunches, dinners, all of these things that we have to do to keep a household, work, school, and everything running in the same environment. Sometimes it can be very challenging and we can feel stuck, in these firefighting modes that really prevent us.
Fear-based. It really is fear-based. So look at a consciousness challenge as there's a judgment going on in your life that comes from fear. And then explore what the belief is that keeps that challenge state of thinking stuck. So many parents, and Ashley's right about this, many parents believe they don't have a right to have needs when their little children are making demands on them. And so they forego that commitment that they made to take better care of their body. whether it was a bathroom break or getting water or eating a meal, and they skip these things because they put someone else's needs first, and it diminishes the commitment. So we just want to heighten your awareness about this so you can recognize that you may have a belief keeping the fear stuck. And that's something that can be reframed and released.
It sure can. And let's go just a little bit deeper into the idea of what could be next. Next, we could be dealing with a consciousness challenge where really time is a liability. It's a demand on us where we don't feel we have enough time throughout the day to create and to finish the needs we need to have done. And inside of that time is a liability, we get kind of stuck, don't we? We get kind of stuck. There's not enough time for me to take conscious introspections. There's not enough time for me to meditate. There's not enough time for me to recognize that I can actually reframe and change my consciousness.
And the fear inside of this is that I'm not going to get done what I want to get done, because maybe your commitment is to accomplish something. And the belief is there's not enough hours in the day. So if we let go of that belief, or we let go of the belief that I need a clone of me to make all my projects come true, then maybe I'll start accomplishing what I want. The other side of the coin is that time is an asset. And when we recognize that, we actually remove the fear state and the fearful thoughts that I'm not going to get what I want out of that construct. And then the commitment is actually supported.
It's really true. Wow. And we can even go deeper from firefighting mode to time as a liability to even a deeper aspect of ourselves where we may experience learned helplessness. And this is where we actually believe inside of ourselves that we can't make change. We can't change what we have learned in the past, that the past tells us because I've been this way all my life, I can never change. I can never change my awareness. Things are how they are because I learned them this way, and I can't learn anything new. Maybe because I'm challenged with time, I'm challenged with demands and duties, I'm challenged with people throwing things at me, I'm challenged with, hey, I just like it the way it was before, right? Those things can really deepen our ability to, say, I know it, I know everything, and I want it to stay that way that I knew it from before.
I see people get stuck on that exact spot, Ashley, because they say like, no, I know this already. And it's like, okay, well, wait a moment, stop, because that belief prevents you from seeing why you're not moving forward inside the structure of your commitment. And that is a great one to let go of, the I know it already, or I already know too much about this subject, I can't possibly learn anything more. Well, when we let that go and we say, okay, I open to whatever is new about this subject, and I open to what I'm not seeing or hearing, then we have more empowerment in the moment.
We truly do. And a lot of times, if we feel that we are unable to move through these processes, what really occurs is that all this leads to lack of commitment consciousness. And therefore, we get less committed with our ability to really dive deep inside and commit to changing our consciousness, changing our awareness with life.
I really love that photo, because even Hollywood, in a moment when someone is in give up, they take their stack of what they're supposed to do, their commitments, and they just throw it up in the air and it rains down on them like, I give up. And that's what we're trying to correct and clear today, so that you can deepen your intention for healing.
Let's talk for just a moment about accessing our unconscious beliefs. You know, those things in the back of our head, the back of our mind, the back of our hearts, that we had a belief that we could never access. Maybe a belief that, only psychics could access our unconscious belief, or emotional wisdom coaches or life coaches or other people, maybe even psychiatric care, all these things. What if we actually can, on a day-to-day basis and a moment-to-moment, we can open to accessing our unconscious beliefs? and the opportunities to reframe the way we believe really truly becomes transformational. When we let go of the idea that we need to have excuses of why we can't access our unconscious beliefs, they could be strong. They could be back there with learned helplessness. They could be back there with, firefighting mode and time is a liability. But when we move into, I'm getting rid of time, firefighting mode, I'm going to change time as a liability to time as an asset. I'm going to let go of all my excuses. And I really am going to open in this moment to my unconscious beliefs and allow them just to bubble up into our awareness, right?
I want to share that excuse consciousness is part of a pity party. When you feel you're a victim of circumstance, then you start offering up your excuses, which is really, I'm so unfortunate. And then sometimes we can go into a feedback loop of looking for others to validate us, and we might recruit others for sympathy using our excuses. And this does nothing but add more self-judgments to why our commitment is weakening.
Absolutely. And then even we can go into a whole host of issues surrounding make wrong conscissness. This case, we can focus on ourselves, right? And really censor ourselves and say, I make wrong. I made myself wrong. I can't do this. I can't move through this. This is not okay. My problems are too big for me to overcome. I'm just going to cope. I'm going to deny. I'm going to go run around the block. I'm going to go pretend. I'm going to stick my fingers in my ears and go, la, 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 I can't deal with this. We may go into those kinds of modes where we don't recognize that we're actually blocking ourselves from accessing our unconscious beliefs.
Make wrong is one of my favorites, and there is no faster route to killing your commitment and all your good intentions than by going into make wrong. Make wrong is so prevalent in the world, especially when we've bought into perfectionism and fear of punishment model consciousness. We will go into these states where we lower our energy significantly because we didn't do it right, or we missed our chance. We have all these, excuses for why we didn't get it. And then make wrong comes along and puts the lid on it, and it will kill your commitment so fast. So that is a rabbit hole of self-judgments you don't want to go down. But if you do find yourself there, you can simply stop and go, oops, I think I just said make wrong, and let that go and say, I release make wrong. I release that I have moved into a space of self-judgment, and start over. Say, no, I renew my commitment to my intention in this moment. And I look for ways to support myself continuing this renewal process.
So true, so true. Let's go to that next topic that really helps us move through consciousness challenges so we can create that commitment. When we implement the conflict resolution process, is so transformational to create a commitment you desire to put in action by releasing the judgments you determined that limited you. So in this idea of self-make wrong, where I went into wrong, I'm wrong, I can't do this right, I don't have enough resources, I don't have enough in me to do this. What I do is I take a deep breath and I realize I went into make wrong about myself. I acknowledge and I say, I acknowledge I went into make wrong. I acknowledge I did this to myself, and I acknowledge I have a conflict with doing this to myself. And in that conflict, what I can do is release this conflict by releasing my own self-judgments about my own make wrong. I can't believe I got here. I let go of that judgment. What other we have a hard time finding our own self-judgments, don't we?
I was an expert. I would get to the spot and I go, okay, got him, next. We are sophisticated in hiding the ways in which we do not do self-love. So we must open our awareness so we can hear the self-judgments. And they do start with, I should have, I could have, I would have, I wish I had, I can't believe I hate it when I. Look for those types of statements. Those are the ones you want to find and release. And as you release them, recognize that you're letting go of the opposite of self-love. That's the self-hatred that's going. And it raises your energy, it raises your frequency. And then your commitment also rises when you realize, no, I did this to myself.
It really does. And so when we're able to find those deep self-judgments and we release them, what happens naturally and organically is the self-love starts to come flowing through your heart, your veins, your arteries, your whole body, your brain, your nervous system, and you can feel it physically in your body, the compassion that you start to resume for yourself. And in that compassion really drips in all of that self-love. It just starts to come pouring in. So we really want to support you in releasing your self-judgments so that you can move on to those next steps. And that next step is really forgiving yourself that you've made self-judgments so that you can actually move through the other side of it, right? And so in that idea, I forgive my self-judgments that I didn't have enough time, that I didn't know how to make the time for myself, that I didn't know how to structure time as an asset just yet, but I open to it. I know I can create it. I know I can. And in that fourth step of proclaiming sovereignty, what does that mean? I am sovereign from this problem of creating, or this conflict of creating make wrong in my life. I'm going to choose every time I make myself wrong and say bad girl and say, I can't do that. I'm going to let that go and move into the idea that I am no longer going to have judgments towards myself. I'm going to choose to recognize that this is a problem or a challenge I'm facing, and I can choose to change it in this moment. I can choose to release those judgments of me and myself and what's going on in the world. And I can choose to be complete with this conflict of make wrong on myself and others. Then I can shine my truth, I can shine my light, and I can decide to come out of it on the other end, absence of make wrong in this moment, so that I may make that commitment to changing my consciousness.
This process does not take very long. The first process, the step one, that acknowledgement happens in really almost one breath. The second step you will spend more time on because there are more judgments, but steps 3, 4, and 5 go very quickly. That's all I wanted to add, because as we get to these processes and we learn them intimately, we can walk by a conflict and go, okay, I conflict resolve that. And our higher state of awareness knows exactly what we're talking about.
It surely is true. And then there's another area that's rather challenging, is overcoming the resistance to even doing the conflict resolution. Many times we believe when we have commitment parameters to begin and they're not present in the situation, the steps to take can be somewhat unavailable or hard to work with. And we really have areas where we recognize in our old selves, right, what we were happening before was the best way. Well, if it was the best way, it wouldn't present itself as a challenge to overcome. So instead, sometimes we can look new and fresh in each moment, recognizing that the old ways may or may not get us over this hurdle, get us over into this other level of consciousness we'd like to experience in our world. So let's open those new doors. Let's say to ourselves, I open to taking the leap to create my new commitment in life. And inside that, we can literally open the doors from the past, really shine the light in our inner world, really, and then allowing that to express in our outer world about the commitments we choose to take to changing our consciousness. Let's talk for just a moment about pollution inside our commitment. We can even have that too. That's with those self-judgments. They dramatically dilute and pollute our interpersonal responsibility to create our commitments in life.
I think make wrong is really the umbrella or the suitcase. And inside the suitcase is all the self-judgments and the self-limiting beliefs. And it's the hall of mirrors once we climb inside the suitcase with all of that. So that's our internal baggage. And we really want to let that go, because I'm going to read this. When I don't get what I want or achieve the desired outcome I hoped for, I determine myself wrong. And the correction to this is to say, now I consciously release my self-judgments, recognizing that make wrong consciousness keeps me stuck. From this point forward, and that's the commitment part, I choose to notice the beliefs that predicated the self-judgments and reframe them. So this is a really valuable consciousness challenge to be aware of moving forward. That's why we brought it up twice. It's really one of the #1 consciousness challenges that pollutes everything. And really, I think when we begin to release make wrong, the pollution becomes very noticeable, and we can conflict resolve that, and it starts to move out of our experience until our commitment is so pure and so clean that it is like fuel to the engine on the intention.
So true, so true. And really, we have an opportunity. We can let go of our make wrong consciousness, where we may have extended that to other people and blaming or demanding that we're right and they're wrong, or the other way around. And really, that impacts our relating to creating these commitments of change in our life. And when sometimes they're at a standstill and we can't seem to move past it, let's bring in that conflict resolution process one more time to move into releasing the judgments we have of other people, where we went outward with blaming and making wrong in our world. And let's move into the area of resolving attachment to outcome.
Here's Gumshoe looking for the evidence.
When we release the need for proof, we actually start to believe and understand that we are the proof we choose to create. And when we step forward knowing we are the proof we choose to create, we just haven't created it yet, we can release that need for proof and move through and let go of all the attachments to the outcome we believe we have to create. What if more abundance, more opportunity, and more potentials are available than we ever knew we could achieve from our past achievements? Then let's move into this idea of adopting thrival, moving from survival. I've got to survive this situation. I've got to survive this job. I've got to survive this time in our lives, and move to thrival. And we can do it through adopting it through the idea of pronoia. That is the idea. It's the opposite of paranoia. It's where we believe and know that the world is conspiring, is really on our side to bring all the abundance forward we need.
I think it's very useful to remember that when you're in a survival state, you're in the state of fear and paranoia. When you're in thrival, you're inside the state of oneness. You may bring your consciousness challenges in, but while you're working on them, that state of pronoia is to support you in releasing those consciousness challenges, because your conscious choice was to come from your true natured self, which is love.
And really inside, when we adopt a pronoic viewpoint on the world, we then move into other more advanced forms of empowerment, which is choosing the idea of being in service to us. So as I take care of me for you, and as you take care of you for me, together we come together collectively with our cups full of love, full of potential, full of opportunity, full of commitment, full of consciousness challenges that have been changed into empowered states of being. And inside of that, we really elevate the conversation, the experience, and the relationship into abundant levels we never knew we could have before. Let's talk for just a moment about what are the benefits to creating this commitment, to taking this leap of consciousness. We want to really share with you, you are the proof you choose to create. And through that, organically, release of the fear of the unknown happens. It just whisks away when you embody, I am the proof I can create. I am the proof I choose to create. And when that happens, we actively choose on a daily basis to embody that awareness of trust and faith in ourselves in the absence of proof. Why? Because you are just about to prove it true by making that commitment, creating that consciousness change, that transformation. And then the proof comes forward after you've made that commitment and that change occur in your life and your relationships. We wanted to talk with you for just a moment about deepening your experience in taking that commitment. We have a complimentary program that is so exciting for you later tonight after the show on Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. in your time zone. We have a remote energy healing program also called the Leap of Consciousness. We're so dedicated to supporting you and connecting with your inner guidance, your inner navigation system, your higher self, and really noticing all those levels of commitment that you can take in here with us in week 1 to taking that leap of consciousness.
It's true. Think about it for a moment. You have 2 advanced energy healers supporting you energetically, creating a very unique energy packet experience for you and your inner guidance to explore together in a fun, interactive way. This is a great opportunity to connect with your commitment, develop and deepen your relationship with your inner guidance in new and exciting ways. We really, truly are here to be embodying in service to us. And Ashley and I have made that commitment to support everyone who cares to join us on this amazing journey. It does create inner peace, and it does smooth out the waves, if you will, so that you can have a peaceful experience.
We are so excited. Yes, please join us to enroll today after our show, after you've experienced this amazing opportunity to recognize all those challenges we can move through to take that leap of consciousness by going on our website at leapofconsciousness.com and sign up there for your remote energy healing transmission this evening and every week.
Yes, and there's also 2 other complimentary gifts there to support you in your journey to raise your consciousness. There's the Conscious Choice Challenge 101, and there is also the ebook Empowerments, which when you heal your consciousness challenges, you then are in the position to embody your empowered state of being, which is love, and use that to bring in consciousness through intention with your commitment into the relationships that you want to raise and change the experience altogether. So we invite you to get those other 2 pieces of the 5 pieces of this program that we've put together for you to take your leap of consciousness. And we assure you, we are busy behind the scenes working on our book, and that will come out soon. And we'll keep you posted. And thank you so much for joining us on our very first episode of Leap of Consciousness. We value your experience, and please join us on Facebook to engage with us further. We would just be thrilled to have you do that. And have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you.